Welcome into the latest episode of Between the Hedges. So glad to be back. As you can see by our title, welcome back, baby. College football is back again. How are you tonight?
We've made it to another season. Yeehaw!
Yeah, I really couldn't be more excited. So happy to be back doing this. Um, so happy to have us on again. What are you looking
I
forward
was
to
very
most
happy
this season?
I was actually very happy to actually have some college football on my television yesterday.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There were actual college football games on the TV yesterday.
Yeah, and although it's
So
not our
even
dogs,
though it's week 0,
yeah,
it's still college football. It's still fun to watch. It's still the best sport out there, even with all the changes.
without a
NIL,
doubt.
transfer portal, blah blah blah, college football playoff, 12 team, 16 team, 28 team, whatever you're going to do, it's still the best.
I I 1,000,000% agree. I've been waiting for this all year, and we're we're finally here. So without further ado, I'd like to jump into what we have tonight. Um, as you all know, you don't see Matthew here. He said he wasn't feeling well, so we wish him the best. Hopefully, he'll be back on Friday evening with us for our weekly picks.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, but since we last had a broadcast, Matthew has some big news. And I don't know if I should spoil that for him or just because it's big news for me too.
Yeah, big news for all of
I
us.
think I should go ahead and I think I should go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, and he can speak to it next time he's here too.
Yeah, go for it.
What do you think? What's that?
Yeah, go for it.
Matthew found out that he is going to be a dad here in October. So that will make me a grandfather for the first time. Breaking news.
Breaking news. The Between the Hedges crew is gaining a new member.
Exactly.
And
Matthew is and his wife are expecting in the end of October, towards the end of October, and they're expecting a little baby girl, a little dogette to join the family, and we
yeah,
couldn't
and
be happier about that.
we're all super excited about that. I'm excited to be Uncle Micah and looking forward to have seeing my younger brother become a dad for the first time. It's going to be real cool. So that's kind of the biggest thing that we've
I
all been
agree.
up to uh, in
Yeah,
this
that's the
off
biggest
season.
news that we've had since we were last here.
So, like I said, it's really good to be back. We've missed it.
As
uh,
far as family, personal information as far our family goes, anyway.
right, right. It looks like you're having a little bit of issues there, skipping a little bit, but that's all right. We'll do the best we can there. But with with I think the first order of business tonight should be just kind of, hey, let's introduce some new faces. Let's talk about um, this team that we're going to be cheering on this season. We do have a lot of new faces, and one of Kirby's hot comments all off season was we just got a lot of new guys, a lot of young guys that'll be stepping up into roles for the first time. Definitely in the years past, we're used to more upperclassmen than what we have on this team. So,
Yep, and it starts with the probably the most uh, front and center position on the whole team, and that's quarterback, with Gunnar Stockton taking over this year as the, I guess you'd say, the number one QB1, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a change for us. The last several years, back even to 21 and stuff like that, we had an established quarterback, an experienced quarterback coming back. So now he's been in the program. What is this? His fourth year in the program.
yeah.
So he's paid his dues. He's waited his turn, and he's up. And we get to see what he can do, being out there full time with all the number ones. And there's a reason in high school he broke all the state quarterback records. I mean, you're talking he beat people like Deshaun Watson's records in high school and stuff like that. So, talent's there. It's going to be interesting to watch and see how it translates when he's the number one guy now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would just like to talk about Gunner a little bit. I think Gunner, for a lot of Georgia fans, will be a a welcome sight, kind of like a return to um somewhat, I don't want to say normal is the right word, but like kind of back to this kid's gonna put his head down, he's gonna work hard, he's gonna do everything that his coaches ask of him. Not that that's not what we had last year, but the flash and the flare and the other things that came with Carson, especially last year as opposed to the year before. Um, Gunner's just totally different. He's tough. He drives an old like 1980, 1990 F-150, and he's just a bring your lunch pail to work kind of guy. And I think we're going to offensively return to a lot of the things that we were used to with Stetson. And that really excites me because our offense was lethal under Stetson. And this year, the pass catchers on this team, there's no excuse.
Well, they addressed that, brought in some super talented freshmen that are creating a lot of buzz, during the fall camp. And now here we are game week, so we get to see what they can do. Now, granted, it's Marshall up first, it
Yeah.
won't be, is it going to be a test? Lord, I hope not. I really hope not. But, still, it's another team. So go out there and play ball, right? But
Yeah. It
with the
counts.
transfer portal guys, wide receivers coming in, we always have talented tight ends. Our running back room is, stacked. I think that as long as those guys stay healthy, you're going to have, you know, um, a lot of production out of that position as well. So, yeah, it should be interesting. It should be very, very fun to watch.
I think one of the biggest things that will be different is our run game is going to return this year, I believe.
I
Um,
think they're going to emphasize it more. I really do. I think you're right.
yeah. Last year was not a typical Georgia run game under Kirby. And I think there was actually, I don't think I know from what I've heard and what, read about. there's going to be an emphasis. If we can't run the ball, then other teams just had a good scheme to stop it because we're just going to keep doing it. Um, or we run into somebody who that doesn't work against. And we may see one team like that on our schedule. So, yeah, we're gonna return to a more heavy run attack, and the quarterback run game is going to be way more in play. And people, let's go back for just a second. I think some Georgia fans were critical of Gunner stepping in and making his first start in that Sugar Bowl because of how it ended. But all things aside, that game was decided by 2 plays, and Gunner's offensive line did not do him any favors. Yet he still stood back there, made a couple of great plays, stood in there, ran the ball well, and I just expect to see him in full command of the offense and just very confident. So I think that was a really tough spot for him to make his first start, and I
Oh
wouldn't
yeah,
envy that.
first start in the college football playoff. You know, it doesn't get much higher stress than that, I would imagine.
Yeah, no, it
And
doesn't.
he played a pretty good game, decent game that day. Him personally.
Yeah, he wasn't the reason we lost.
No, there, like you said, there were a couple of plays there right before the half, and then the kickoff, and then ensuing kickoff to start the third quarter. I mean, that game got flipped on its head in about 2 to 3 minutes of game time, if that long.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I said, I'm really excited about the quarterback position. I know a lot of people are nervous about it, because new change. Anytime that there's change, anytime that something's new, you're unsure at first. And of course, I'm not, 10 toes down 100% on Gunner, but if my stance has always been, if Kirby is 100%, then I'm 100% because
Yeah, I
he's
think
not going to make
Kirby's
the wrong
earned.
choice.
I think Kirby's earned the right to make that choice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, he gets paid to make that decision, right?
Yeah. Pretty
So
handsomely too. I'm
yeah,
not jealous or
exactly.
anything.
Yeah, couldn't imagine.
Yeah. But outside of quarterback, somebody that I'm really excited about that's new to the team, he won't be young, so this will be kind of somebody that we lean on, and that's uh, Colby Young. I I think
Yeah,
he's going to be a beast.
he's not really new to the team.
Right.
He's just back because he's got all his legal crap straightened out, and he was, you know, I'm not exactly sure what the correct phrase to use, but um, he's back with the team, and when he was with our guys prior to all that crap that happened, he made a difference then,
Hmm.
and him back together out on the field with the what is it, Zechariah Branch, the transfer from USC, and then on the other side you got Noah Thomas, that transfer from Texas A&M. You talking about
Hmm.
with Noah Thomas and Colby Young, you talking about some huge bodied receivers. I mean, big targets. Um, I don't think we're gonna have. I don't think we're gonna lead the nation in drop passes this year. I've got a hunch.
No, there's too much talent, and then you're bringing back both tight ends, Lawson Lucky and uh,
Dealt
Oscar Delp, who are two of the. I would take those two over just about anybody's out there. So
and don't sleep on the freshmen.
yeah,
I mean, that freshman class that they brought in, if I'm not mistaken, we were the number one ranked recruiting class coming in for a reason. You got some wide receivers I've already touched on, you know, um, out of that class, some tight ends, of course, you know, and we haven't got to the defensive side, but Lord help, there's some there's some dudes, you might say, on the coming up the ranks.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about defense real quick because I think again, what was lacking other than a run game and more so than the run game last year was just a tenacious defense, right? It definitely took a step back by every metric. It was the worst defense in the Kirby Smart era so far. So, with that
Well,
being
we
said,
could not stop the run to
right.
save our lives,
And
and that
you
was
see what happens when you can't do that. We were so dominant at that during the beginning of the dynasty, if you will, because I still think we're in it. We're only 2 years removed from it, so we go out there and we win another championship this year, and we're right in the middle of it still. But yeah, it's not that historically great 21 defense or the just slightly below historically great 22 defense. Uh, it certainly wasn't that, and I don't think we're gonna get quite there those 2 years, but I fully expect us to return to another just nasty defense this year.
I would agree with that.
So we have a lot to be excited about. I can't wait for Saturday, even though it is Marshall. We've had a couple of good opening games the last few years, and it's kind of hard to get excited for Marshall, but I'm just excited to actually have college football back and have the dogs back, to cheer on and be back doing this with you and Matthew. So, but I think I think now we can kind of move towards our next item tonight. Let's go into what do you want to do next? Let's go into our let's do a couple of predictions. Starting with because I looked back at SEC media days and I did pay attention pretty closely to everybody's picks on that. It seems like the overwhelming consensus was Texas and Alabama, Texas and LSU, and then kind of Texas, Georgia. So everybody's kind of penciling Texas in there to the SEC championship game. And they forget
Yep.
that we beat them twice last year. So in order to make the SEC
And
championship, they probably
and they're
they
breaking in a they don't they're breaking in a new quarterback too.
yeah.
Now, granted, he's got the right last name. So if you want a quarterback, you want that last name on your quarterback. I get that. But he's still I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say that I don't know that he started any games yet.
Well, he started for Quinn Ewers when he was out a couple of games last season, but they were against like
Okay.
Marshall and you know nobody nobody good, right? So he has they've got a heck of a first game test, and I think I would take if you had the over under at 1.5 losses going into the Georgia game for Texas, I would take the over right now. I
You
think
think
they're
they're going
gonna
to
have.
have two or more losses? But on the schedule, we play the same, but all those road games
Yeah,
that we had last year, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, they get to come to Athens this year.
right. So yeah, I
But you think
would.
they're going to have two losses before they come to Athens?
They could, because I don't think I could pick them week 1 against Ohio State up at Ohio State, even
Okay.
though Ohio State's breaking in a new quarterback. Um, it's hard to beat them there, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
the difference in that game, I think, is that it's going to be in the horseshoe.
Right,
I think
and
that's going to be tough to overcome.
I think that's gonna be one loss, and I Texas has to go to the Swamp before they play
Ooh,
us.
oh,
So watch out now. I'm not
oh,
gonna
Lord!
I'm not gonna
You're
say that
counting on the Gators to give them a L, huh?
I will not count on the Gators for a daggum thing.
I tell
But
you what, though, the Gators will have, as long as he stays healthy, their quarterback will be a problem for any
yes,
team they face. Any team they face, he will be a
we should
problem.
we should raise our hand because he gave us fits before we knocked him out of the game last year.
Yeah,
So
thank God we knocked his butt out of that game last year, because it would have been one of those games that you're just on the edge of your seat the whole day if he would have stayed healthy that whole game.
exactly. So with that being said, I let's get back to what I think that means for the SEC. I think Texas is going to have a tough road to get to the SEC championship, much less win it, right? Um, but see, their schedule isn't that tough. It's really Ohio State and going to Florida and then coming to Georgia. That's their 3 big games of the year. So of course they could, they
But
could win
at
all
least they've
3.
got 3 big games this year.
Right, right. It Last year they really didn't have any, us coming out
I
there,
think
but we whooped their
they'll
tail.
be a little more tested. Yeah.
And yeah, they'll definitely be battle tested before they play us. That's a late November game for us. So a lot of the season will have been decided. So I'll be interested to see how that one's definitely been circled. Um, but yeah, if I had to go out on a limb right now and pick who's in the SEC championship, I say, and no shock here, I say we get there because it's like our invitational now, like it used to be Alabama's. And I say that we're going to be playing Alabama again.
A rematch, huh?
Yeah.
Well,
I
see, the storyline with some of the contenders in the SEC right now is breaking in new quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Some of the traditional powers, you're breaking in new quarterbacks. We are, for the most part, Texas is, Alabama is. The only other ones that you've seen that have been, I guess, shoot, even people have thrown LSU in the mix to be in the SEC championship this year.
Yeah.
But they've got Nussmeier. He's coming back, right?
Right. And I almost went with
Tennessee will
them.
have a new quarterback this
Yeah.
year. So honestly, I think they're going to take a step back from where they were last year because
I
of
would
that. I think that's going to be hard for them to replace. Um, but um, with Florida, we've mentioned Florida with their quarterback, and I'm I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I want to say South Carolina with their quarterback too. If those two guys stay healthy, they're going to be problems. They're going to make a lot of problems for defenses in this league.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I considered those teams too. I think what changed it for me, uh, what tilted it in Alabama's favor and our favor is it's the machine and the structure that has been laid there in both programs. They're we're both positioned to be, perennial powers for a while. Now, I guess DeBoer could go a long way to ruin that, but I don't think he's going to for Alabama. And I just don't trust Brian Kelly. That's why I picked Alabama over LSU. I don't trust Brian Kelly. I wanted so badly to say, yeah, LSU, because they're going to have arguably the best quarterback returning. And depending on how Arch Manning works out, at Texas. But going into the season, if you had to say, I trust this quarterback, it's Nussmeier for me.
Gotcha. And I mean
So,
that goes a long way. But yeah, I mean, you said Georgia, Alabama. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I think not to piggyback on you or anything like that, but if you were to put a gun to my head today, that's probably what I would expect to happen too.
and it's not just because it's more of the same or it's a homer pick, but it's like, who else do you really trust to get there? I mean, Florida's got again an extremely hard schedule. Luckily, they get Texas at home, but if we went through their schedule, you'd be like, "Oh my gosh,"
Well, it's the
like
same schedule they had last year. The sites are just flip flop like ours. Everybody in the SEC is playing the exact as far as in conference games. They're playing the
right,
exact same schedule. The home and away is just flip flopped this year from last. That's the
yeah,
way they did it when we brought Texas and Oklahoma into the league last year. You know, which leads us, if you want to go that way, there was a big announcement about the future schedules
yeah. Let's
coming
get
up
into that.
for 2026 and beyond. Something I wasn't ever sure that would happen, because it's never been this way as long as I've been on this earth and watching SEC football. But they'll be playing 9 SEC games starting next year. Next year. So it's going
Yeah,
to be a whole new schedule. And the format's supposed to be each team has 3 annual rival games, I guess is what they're calling it. 3 games you'll play annually, and I guess, home away, back and forth, right? So um, you'll have 3 opponents that you play year in and year out, and then 6 that rotate. And from what I've read, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but those 6 you'll play them in like 2-year increments. So the ones you play at home one year, the next year you'll play on the road, and then they rotate off your schedule, and 6 new ones come on, and so on and so forth, right?
yeah. That's the way I read it and what I understood from that. Um, this is, you know, a big deal because as late as what, May or June, Greg Sankey was like, "Yeah, we've talked about it, but we can't seem to come to an agreement on it." So it didn't seem
But you know
imminent.
what the agreement was, right?
I think I
You
was
know what the
about to get,
agreement.
yeah, what was it? Yeah. Yeah, I think we had some dollar signs
E-
come
E-
in.
ESPN, yeah, ESPN finally decided to fork over enough money where they said, "Oh yeah, we can that ninth game you're wanting on the each year, yeah, we can do that.
Sure thing.
Just fill the coffers, more money.
Yeah.
That's what makes the world go round, right?"
Yeah, it does. So
So
I and I think this would be a cool little thing to kind of play at because I we obviously don't know who will be the three mainstays, but in my
who
opinion,
do
I
you
don't.
want them to be?
Yeah, I think I want them to be, and I know I haven't obviously been watching the SEC as long as you have, so the mainstays have kind of changed over the years, but I don't think you can change Florida.
No,
Florida has to be on the
that'll
schedule.
definitely be one. Georgia, Florida have to play every year.
Yes. Jesus is going to come back before Georgia Florida stops, right? So that has to be every year. Um, and I think we have to play Auburn every year.
Yeah,
It's the
I
Deep
agree
South's
100%.
oldest rivalry. You
And
know,
I don't think they're going to interrupt that.
you can't do that
So
because
two of the three are Florida and Auburn. I 100% agree. I don't see how they do it any other way for us than Florida, Auburn. Now, who's that third one? That's the kicker right there.
and here's where I'm going to go with this. I've always said, our three most hated rivals are the three teams that have that god awful orange in their uniforms. So it's got to be Tennessee. I
That's a
think
strong
that
choice,
I think it's got to
but
be those three, and if it's any others than those three, it's just wrong.
that would be a strong three to have every year. And um, I know they're gonna try to balance it out. So that's the only reason why I'm not. I think that would be a good three to have. Yes, I mean it'd be fun to have those three on your schedule year in year out. Um, I've seen some other things out there that are saying um, like the third team might be like Kentucky.
Can see that, and I considered that. I could also see South Carolina.
That's the other team I was going to say. I was like, if it's not Tennessee, I kind of like the South Carolina option. I
I
don't
do
know how
too.
that fits. Somebody else has got to plan all this and put everybody together and somewhat come up with a quasi fair formula for everybody, right?
All right.
Um, but the closeness to between Georgia and South Carolina that makes a lot of sense. Um, for that third team to be South Carolina. You would think it would be one of the old Eastern Division teams, regardless. I don't
Yeah.
see any of the former, Western teams being that third team option, really. I don't think it makes much sense. Like a Tennessee, a South Carolina, even a Kentucky. Um, I think it was going to be one of those three, as the third option. But I think Florida and Auburn are pretty much guaranteed to be two of our three. It's just a matter of which team we get as our third, annual opponent.
And I could throw this out too. This is just the kind of
But
the
here's the thing, too: there might be more expansion before this all comes in to play,
that's an
and
interesting thought too.
if it could, say, I know Clemson has been rumored to leave in the ACC. Did they join the SEC? And do you
Yeah.
have a Georgia Clemson annual matchup then again? I mean, for people my age, that was always one of the bigger annual games that we had. I mean, we weren't in the same league, we never were, but He played Clemson almost every year in and out, year in and year out for a long time. Um, and that was it. That was fun. I mean, you want to get something off the wall, let that happen before these schedules come out. But talking about the teams that are in the league right now, my gut tells me it's probably going to be Kentucky as that third team, just for making things as even, I guess, as you could possibly. I'd love to see a Tennessee. I could understand it being South Carolina as well.
Yeah, those are all good options. And then just kind of another off the wall scenario. And it's just kind of, I guess, the cynic in me, the little bit of cynicism would be the SEC trying to screw us and give us like Alabama.
Alabama. I knew you were going to say that. We have Florida, Auburn, and Alabama all on the
Yeah.
schedule every year. Yeah, I could see. Yeah. So
Th-
it'll be
that would
interesting to see once that comes out how it settles.
that would be a big screw you Georgia move. So I don't think that
Well,
I
what
think
is
we're
nice about this new schedule is the fact that in a 4-year time frame, you're going to play every team in the league, both home and away,
yeah.
because of the rotation of the schedule. Um, which is interesting because you realize there's still a team in the SEC we have not played at their location, at their home field in football. You know
Texas
which team that
A&M.
is? And they've been in the league. Gosh, when did they join the league? I forget, but
20,
it's been a long time.
2013.
2012 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, and we still haven't played at Texas A&M. So,
Yeah, and that's just not right. That's why the push for the old away from the old schedule um
in the division
was
format and all that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
that's why it doesn't work. It's not balanced. We like balance and it creates last year was I mean, you could say it you could say it was probably the most wide open year in a while cuz both the Big 10 and the SEC moved away from the divisions and it was the top 2 winners going to the championship game and it it created a lot more balance in the schedule. And I think everybody's going to follow suit with that cuz now that my other the other thing I was going to say about the ACC said they were going to follow suit if the
Right.
SEC does a 9-game schedule because you don't want to be that one conference of the Power Four. So I guess the Big 12 they already have 9, right? Big 12,
And so does the Big Ten. Yes.
right? So those 4 will all have 9-game schedules, which also plays into the new metrics that they're looking at for the CFP for the selection committee. So it'll all be the same. It'll all be balanced out, and they're not going to look at you know strength of schedule the same way anymore.
And here's the caveat too that they've come out about the schedule is they're requiring that all the SEC teams, you're going to have 9 conference games starting next year, but you're also required to play another P4 opponent besides that. So that's 10 of your 12 scheduled games. You're playing a Power 4 opponent. So there's a lot more better games on the schedule all the way across the board. And I believe the Big Ten has the same type of, requirement. And I'm sure everybody will follow suit with that. So it all just feeds together and goes together seamlessly.
Yeah, which I like. I mean, it's gonna make almost every game just that much more meaningful. It's gonna balance out the schedules, like I was saying, and it definitely makes paying a minimum of $150 for your ticket to go to these games more worth it if you're not going to see Marshall and Austin P like we have this year. So I'll take it.
I mean, you're still, and I mean, take Georgia for instance. I guess Georgia Tech would be our 10th game, pretty much. That qualifies for uh, sp- that spot. To fulfill that requirement or whatnot. But I mean, you you won't see as many of the teams coming through as what you do currently that are non P4
Yeah, which but
scheduled games.
which begs the question, the non P4 teams are on the schedule now because they need that money for their programs. So what's about to
Hmm.
happen to those programs?
Yeah, exactly. I guess time will tell if they're not getting those big paychecks to fund their athletics. What happens?
Mhm. Food for thought there. So, but that's something for another day, and really for someone else, and why I think we're headed towards another something for the future, but a commissioner probably going to have or a governing body that's not the weak NCAA. It's got to be a person or a small group of people that kind of mandate things and run the sport, handle the revenue, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's what we're headed towards.
I agree. Think you could be onto something there.
And then last but not least, I'd like to do like a quick little glimpse at our week 1 schedule here in around college
Oh boy,
football.
we got some doozies on the schedule to start us off week one, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And I'm going to put them up on the screen here
Well, you're gonna
for
share it
everyone.
with everybody, eh?
Yep.
Well, while you're pulling that up, just give you a few. I've made a couple comments earlier about freshmen contributing this year, which I think is going to be a big possibility.
Yeah.
Um, wide receiver, you got Talon Taylor and CJ Wiley. Those are two highly touted freshman wide receivers coming in. Keep an eye open for those two guys. There's a couple of tight ends. I know we've got Lucky and Delp, but Ethan Barber and Elias Williams, they're just continuing the tight end you know, down the line. And I think they will definitely contribute. They're just too big, too talented, you know, freaks of nature basically to have those kind of people doing the things that they do on the field. Um, Defensive line, one of the highly touted guys on the defensive line, Elijah Griffin from Savannah, Georgia.
Hmm.
Keep and then JJ Haney, I think is how you say it. Both of those are freshmen. You know, I could see both of them contributing um, a good bit as freshmen. I think that's about it. So you got that ready to pull up?
Yep. Here we go. And let me see if I can.
So with the holiday weekend, I think that's the football games, of course, start Thursday, right?
Yeah, as you can see, it starts with on Thursday with Boise State, South Florida at 5:30. So that kind of kicks off the Labor Day weekend, so to speak, and that'll go through, I guess Monday. Yeah, that one, we're not as interested in,
No,
nor the Western Illinois
Friday.
game,
Yeah,
but
okay. But then we get to
this
Saturday.
then
Saturday.
then we get this first marquee matchup that's really unprecedented. We've never seen that before with Texas and Ohio State, like I mentioned earlier. Um, you see Ohio State favored by a point and a half. That's for home field, really. It's not even really completely for home field. So Texas, they're basically saying flip a coin on this one for these two teams, but
I would say so, even though it's in Ohio. So that shows you, of course, Texas is the number one ranked team preseason, right?
right. They're the first
So
preseason number one to be a road dog, to be an
yeah, but
underdog.
most teams that are ranked in the past, number one ranked teams don't start off playing somebody out of conference like Ohio State. Usually,
True.
you usually have a couple of tune-up games.
Yeah. So, but that one just right after game day. If you don't change the channel on Saturday, you're gonna start. Uh, well, that's actually on Fox. Never mind. But that's as soon as game day's over. If you have multi-view like we do, you flip over, you can be on Fox for that one right away, and then on ABC, you've got Tennessee kicking off for the SEC as well against Syracuse, and that's in Atlanta. So I guess is that the one of the Chick-fil-A kickoff games?
Yeah, it's I think yeah, I think they have two. They have that one, and don't they have another one on either Sunday or Monday in
I
Atlanta?
think I
Yeah,
think so.
Virginia Tech, South Carolina on Sunday. So they followed up back to back days with those, um, you know, two matchups.
And then you got Indiana, Old Dominion, Penn State, Nevada, blah blah blah. Then you got the biggest game of the day right here.
Marshall, Georgia.
But the
You got
3:30,
Alabama, Florida going to Florida State.
yeah, that's
Can
gonna be
Florida State recover from last year and surprise people?
yeah. Look at that.
But anyway,
Alabama,
I guess they can. I guess they can dream until Saturday, right?
right. Look at what
Because
I just
Alabama's favored by 13 and a half right now.
yeah, 13 and a half as a road,
Favorite.
yeah, a road team that's a favorite.
And
That
then
is
later
crazy.
that night, you got another top 10 matchup. LSU going to Clemson.
Yeah, all these other games that I'm scrolling
The
past it,
the
but then,
battle of the Tigers, whatever.
yeah, I guess it depends on how you say "Go Tigers," who you're rooting for here.
Go Tigers.
I guess I gotta root for those Tigers. So
Yeah, we'll be rooting for LSU that day, that evening, no doubt. Then Sunday, you got another top 10 matchup. You got three top 10 matchups this weekend to watch. Notre
Yeah,
Dame playing at Miami.
our old friend Carson Beck
Making his Hurricane debut.
at the Garden, at Miami Gardens, at Hard Rock Stadium.
In front of 27 people.
Yeah, the infamously empty stadium.
No, Notre Dame will probably sell out the stadium, to be honest.
Now that is true. It takes a really strong road team to sell out that stadium, and Notre Dame travels well. We saw that here in Athens a few years ago. So, but we don't need help selling out our stadium.
And then wrap it up on Monday. TCU at North Carolina for Monday Night Football.
Yep.
But yeah, there's some dang good matchups this weekend to get us kicked off for another college football season.
Yep. And like
And
it
I think we'll
started.
see more and more of that as we move forward. We'll talk about all these schedules and how it all pans out down the line. I think we'll see more of these type things. These big games.
Yeah, it's definitely here to stay, and I'm welcoming it. It definitely will. It definitely makes it's going to make it more interesting as a fan for sure. Um, and just the amount of money that's pouring in, it's just going to continue to skyrocket the amount of money that college football makes and these university, what they make. So I guess we're all here for it. Here it is.
I'm ready.
But yeah, I'm ready for it to be Saturday morning, waking up. It's actually going to be kind of crisp here in the greater Atlanta, Athens, South Atlanta area where we are. So um, it's going to be kind of a crisp week in the mornings this week. So it's going to start to feel a little bit like fall. So yeah, I'm here for it. And then get to wake up, watch game day, and kick off another year. Talking like I'm actually going to be participating, but that's the fun thing about being a fan.
Well, you will be participating in your own way.
Yeah, in my own way,
In your
I
own way.
guess.
In your living room, sitting on your couch.
Yelling at the TV like normal. Not as much yelling on Saturday though as let's say the Florida game last year or
Oh, I don't know.
Alabama.
You're gonna have expectations for how this game's gonna go. I've heard you plenty of times when it's even these non-conference podunk U teams that we play. A lot of times you get more mad at those than you do playing Tennessee or Florida.
Yeah, I guess the whole Kirby Smart outlook has kind of washed over me. I'm now, I expect excellence no matter who we're playing.
Or you're either elite or not, right?
Yeah.
So
You either
let's go
have
be elite.
Yeah, you either have fire and passion or you don't. So, but I will say, I think that's going to wrap it up for tonight. So, uh, stay
Not a
tuned.
bad start to the season.
Yeah, not a bad start. Look out for us. We'll be on time. 8 o'clock Friday night. We'll do
Yeah, we'll
our
pick up the normal schedule Sunday night, Friday night.
Yep.
Friday night, we'll make our picks for the week. I think we'll probably have, like we did last year, 6 games each week, something like that.
Yep.
We'll make picks. We'll talk about the game the following day, all that good stuff. And also Hit that like button if you're interested in if you like what we talked about tonight. Subscribe. We can so you get notified when we come on again Friday night.
Yep. So normal schedule 8 p.m. Fridays and Sundays, and Fridays we'll do our normal picks, and we will go ahead and do a little preview of the game and the games that we're picking. So definitely
And
tune in
hopefully
for that.
Matthew will be back with us on Friday.
Yeah, I fully anticipate that that will be the case, but you just never know. So um, get better, Matthew, and thank y'all again for tuning in tonight. Had a lot of fun. Thanks, David, for joining, and y'all have a wonderful evening and go dogs.
Go Dogs.